how long have you guys worked on this Bears game? And by the way, it's great to have you back. Good to see you again.
It's great to see you guys. Yeah, we we had a really good training camp, but we started transitioning to this really good Bears team, and with what Ben's got going on and DA on the defensive side, we've tried to transition and get our work in, methodically here, basically since right before the Tennessee game. So we've been at it for a while. You want to make sure you don't go in with 1,000 plays. We want to have great execution and excited for our guys.
And this is X's and O's with Kevin O'Connell, and I'm Paul Allen. Vikings and Bears shortly after 7 o'clock on Monday night, season opener, Monday Night Football, Vikings at Bears. Now, it always fascinates me, and whether it's your response or response that I hear, when coaches are going against teams that have new coaches. And I'm sure somebody talked about you coming from the Rams and McVay and middle zone and just a bunch of different things. But Ben Johnson, head coach of the Bears, Dennis Allen, defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. What fascinates me is they're going to be set in things they know are tried and true for them, but the personnel's different. So therefore, does it come to meshing like their will versus what's best for the players? No, this is the scheme. We're going to do it this way. Or putting the players in the best position to succeed. That's all coming at you, man.
Yeah, and I think, the important thing for week one and really the early part of the season is you've got to prepare your team. You have plans for what you may see, but so much of it is you got to be ready for unscouted looks as well. I mean, nobody is really, especially, new coaching staffs that are just starting fresh, nobody's showing their hand in any capacity in the preseason, and rightly so. I mean, you want to try to have any element of an advantage schematically you can have, and a lot of times in week one there's things on all sides that players will have to react to and play fast. So what have you done to prepare those guys for the different answers that you may need, regardless of what you are anticipating maybe getting, and you try to work through it from there, and you make sure that ultimately the things you've been practicing, the things you've really worked on, the principles of how you want to play, maintain no matter schematically where you maybe have to go with the ebbs and flows of the game on Monday night.
What are you liking about J.J. McCarthy up to the season opener?
Yeah, I think he had a really good training camp where there was some real competitive moments where he responded really well. The joint practice, he had some great work there, and really kind of the day over day, seeing him grow in a really quick timeline there. And then I just like the way he's handled it from really the spring until now. But as we know, it's going to be a big moment for him. We know that, and we want to basically surround him with the best guys we can in the huddle. We feel like we've done that. We feel like the other side of the ball is going to play good football defensively for us, as well as in the kicking game. And then it's just going to come down to a lot of really boring things that probably don't, fill a lot of great time, 9 to noon or in the pregame show. But
are required.
It's going to come down to, footwork and his comfort in doing the things that he's done a lot now on the practice field and throughout this offseason, really since we got going in April. And how consistent can he be despite it being Monday Night Football and a road start. We know the place is going to be rocking there. They're excited about their team, and we're excited about ours. So what that means is we need to make it about execution. We need to make it about play style. We need to make it about the things that we talk about as a team, and that's got to come to life. And if it doesn't, then we're gonna we didn't do a very good job preparing the team. And I just believe that it's the Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears. It's one of 17 this season. It's a divisional opponent on the road. They're very important games, obviously, but I think it comes down to a lot of really minute details of how comfortable all of our guys are, not just our quarterback, going in, executing that, playing fast, the physicality of it, and all the things that makes our game so great, come to life on Monday night.
How did you feel into your first game as head coach of the Minnesota Vikings? I mean, you're at home. It's the Green Bay Packers, so it's a big game. They're all big. But I'm just trying to figure out how he's going, because you can program and train and raise. But when he runs out there at Soldier Field for the first time and Montez is over here, and this is, you know what I'm saying, he'll be ready for it. But nevertheless,
I think I got to get you ready for it, it sounds like.
What do you mean?
This the excitement level. If we didn't have you buckled into that chair
I'm
over
going to be
there.
honest with you, and I've said it 9 to noon before. I mean, I've done this many years. This is the most excited I've been for a season opener since 2009 with Brett Favre.
Yeah.
And it's not like the last 3 with you. Yeah, I'm excited for all of them. This is so compelling with the kid at quarterback, the guy coaching them, and what everybody's seen and said about him. And it's on the road. It's standalone.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm ready to go for this thing right now, man.
No, I hear you. And you just going
But how'd
back,
you feel into that game?
Yeah, I think you can quiet a lot of nerves and some of the things that you can control by your preparation. When I look back on that, not only our team, but I felt really prepared for that moment. And then, the first time our offense goes down and scores and I want to jump and look at the Surface tablet like I've done for my whole career, and I'm not watching the defense and somebody screaming challenge the play and I haven't even seen it, I realize no matter how much I prepared, you're then going to react in the moment and strive to be the best version of yourself that day that you can become. I think a big thing is I'm very much excited to see our team play. I'm very much excited to see JJ take the field and play, but at the same time, I have to have a little bit bigger picture mentality towards things and maybe just the lead in and then the ebbs and flows of the game. We've got to be prepared for that, and we've got to coach our way through the football game against what I believe is going to be a really good team. I've got all the respect in the world for Ben, for DA, just for how they've built that thing up from the top down, and we're going to need to play good football to win the game, and we know that, and that's going to be the case. We play in the hardest division in football. There's no questioning that. I don't really believe so. Every time you play a divisional game in the NFC North, you're going to have to play well. You're going to have to do simple principles of winning football to give yourself the best chance to win.
How frequently are McCarthy, Wentz, and Brosmer peppering you for information, given there's just so much new to your quarterback's room?
Yeah, I think those guys it's been really cool to see that group come together. Carson's been awesome since we brought him in here, and Max, obviously everybody saw Max, take a good amount of reps in the preseason games, but it's been what he's done every single day, really to not only solidify his current role, but just we think Max has a really bright future. And then obviously JJ, I already said, had a really good camp. And the way those 3 guys have come together with Josh and Jordan in the room, and now it's about routine. Now it's about the routine, both the time we have with them, what are they doing on their own time as they digest the game plan officially here as we've kind of already gotten into it this week. What are they doing to make sure they're doing everything in their control to be totally prepared? And it starts obviously with JJ, but Carson and Max being ready to go as well.
And with Brosmer, and the reason I bring him up is it's so infrequent that college free agent quarterbacks make a final 53. I mean, it's college free agents will always make teams. Quarterbacks, that's not generally the case.
Yeah.
But with Brosmer and his stark improvement ever since he got here, and he was good for PJ, but the practices are now designed to beat the next in line. So how does Max improve during the season?
Yeah, I think people have to understand there wasn't when you're trying to get as many reps for JJ as you can, and we were trying to give both Sam and Brett opportunities as well. There just weren't a lot of physical, real reps early on, especially in camp, going back to the offseason program. So what you're seeing is a guy that is taking some of the traits that you look for before you've ever seen him step foot on the field in those preseason games and run the show. You're seeing traits that correlate, meaning he's not taking the rep, but you can see him either physically taking the rep from behind the drill and taking the footwork, and you see him going through progressions, and then you get in the meeting room and you hear unbelievable questions and just overall awareness to this isn't just another undrafted free agent rookie just trying to kind of survive his way to the practice squad. It did not feel like that from day one, and then I think Gopher fans can probably attest to this as well. but it's the presence that he had in the actual football games, in many cases with guys that also didn't get a lot of reps. And his factor that ultimately was always on display in those games was he had a make-it-right factor to him, which is, some people call it figure-it-outness, some people call it make-it-right.
Yes.
He found a way to move the team. He found a way in some very difficult circumstances sometimes to make a throw, the only one required on that play, which, wasn't always – a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle. At somehow he had to change the way he threw the ball. He had to anticipate. He had to do things that you're checking a lot of boxes, even though I know our fans have been anticipating Monday Night Football against the Bears, but hopefully we didn't overlook some of the things and performances that not only Max, but a lot of the young players that ended up making our team.
Lastly, with the quarterbacks for Kevin O'Connell, coach of the Vikings, on X's and O's with Wentz, you won't, I'm sure you know this, but you won't find a better person to add to the culture covenant. But what's the process of getting him up to speed in a very short amount of time?
Yeah, I think the good thing is he's got some exposure to some of the base core things we do. He spent a year in L.A. with Sean, and there's enough carryover there where you can kind of work backwards from you kind of ask him a little bit to bring some principles, because I think Andy Reid's one of the best in football at what he does, not only as a play caller, but just overall coaching offense in the quarterback position. You don't want him to, hey, those principles that you're coming off of, in a quarterback room with Patrick Mahomes and that type of organization, you want to make sure that, you can allow him to apply some of those things. This guy had some unbelievable performances early on in his career. He was, third in the MVP voting at one point for a reason. He's big, he's strong, he can see, and he's very smart. And I've been really pleased with how he's thrown the football. There's going to be some things, maybe it's not exactly footwork fundamentals and that you would coach over a long period of time like you would with maybe JJ or Max. But at the same time, what's it like getting to the position at the top of the drop, regardless of maybe how he gets there? Can we get him playing with great base, great balance to his fundamentals regardless? And then on top of that, the guy was, a first-round pick, top 5 pick for a reason. He's got physical ability both on schedule and off schedule that we've already kind of seen come to life in practice. So then it's about, as we get closer to the game, and we've had more time than, say, we did with Josh Dobbs, pre-Atlanta in 2023. We've got some time now to really allow Carson to absorb the information, see where he's at, and then he might not necessarily go in with the same menu of plays that we have for our, for JJ or that first group of guys. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's not far off with his capacity and his ability to come in here and apply all of his experiences into being a guy that's one snap away we feel really good about.
To the Minnesota Vikings defense with Kevin O'Connell. And let's begin that with our weekly talkback for the head coach. It's a Talkback Tuesday. He's Kevin O'Connell, and I believe this man's name is Jimmy, and here they are.
Hey, Coach, this here is Jimmy. Question for you. How involved do you get on the defensive side? And how involved does our illustrious defensive coordinator get involved on the offensive side? Do you guys have a pretty good collaborative relationship there? I'm just curious on how it works internally. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
God bless.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy.
God bless you.
It's a great question. It's been probably, outside of seeing our defense play at a really high level, one of the best things that happens each and every week is Flo and I spend a good amount of time together. Just overall, he's not only a former head coach, but, we both come from the same initial kind of farming grounds of Foxborough, where you learned a lot from Coach Belichick on the things that it's going to be required. What's it going to take to win the game? What are the things that we need to make sure we emphasize as a team? And then how those puzzle pieces fit, even though the offense is never on the same on the field at the same time as the defense. There is such thing as a complementary nature to everything you want your team doing. How are they going to play? How are my decisions going to be tied on fourth down? Or, how valuable are points versus field goals versus touchdowns, and what type of plays are we going to do to limit exposure, maybe, have the risk for some negative plays, but the reward of explosive plays might be out there. You're always balancing that. And then how does that tie in with what Flo's plans are? We'll spend a good amount of time later today where, his game plan, at least initially here, has been brought to life. And I'll talk a little bit about the offensive side. There could be some questions. Some of the best plays we've had on offense, the final touch is, hey, Flo, what do you think on this? Here's what I'm trying to do. What kind of a response do you think that's going to elicit from this hook player? Or maybe it's a formational thing of how they would treat it. Whether there's a similarity to our defense to somebody else or not, there's just good principles of defensive football that I know Flo is going to bring another layer of information to me, and we do the same thing on offense. There's quite a few systems around the league, really including the one we'll play Monday night, that have some foundational kind of pieces that there's some similar aspects of it because, I obviously was with Jared Goff in L.A. I think Ben and Jared did some unbelievable things together in Detroit, but a lot of that was a collaboration between those guys to build what Jared was comfortable with and dipping into his background. And a lot of that is kind of fast forward now to obviously really, really great years for Ben in Detroit. Now he's running his own show there in Chicago. So I think there's some things that you can kind of look at. Now, Flo obviously has experience going up against Ben as the offensive play caller here. So he's got a lot to, carry over from previous wins, losses, the ability to understand what worked, what didn't, and what's the next layer. I think what makes great coaches in this league, regardless of offense, defense, or even in the kicking game, is what are the layers to how you play. Yeah. And some people call them wrinkles, some people, whatever you want to call them, but you're just applying minute, tiny little things, change of technique, fundamentals, alignments, assignments, that, we like to call it easy for us, hard for them, make it seem to be things that are massive things that need to be talked about by the opposing side and have answers for, but yet our guys can seamlessly do it and play as fast as possible.
Defensive tackle, defensive lineman Jonathan Allen. How is he expected to help, and what are you liking about your D-line depth?
Yeah, I think it's J.A. and it's Hargrave. Those guys have brought a level of playmaking to the interior where it's not just the assignment. It's one of them is going to find their way into some one-on-one matchups, both in the run and pass game. So one of them is going to find their way maybe working together in the interior of, some different stunts and games that you can do, all while knowing we've got those edge players ripping off the edge where we feel like obviously JG, Gink, and Dallas have all been phenomenal. I mean, all three of those guys. I know Gink, working his way back here, he's doing really well, and we're in a situation where we really feel like we've got three starters on the outside. We feel like we've got depth players behind those guys, and then the same goes for that interior of the D-line with versatility and youth behind two really impactful players that we felt very strongly about adding to our team, and those guys have brought all of that and more. I'm excited to see those guys get to truly turn it loose and go play and try to change the game, because I think we're going to be different defensively purely on what some of this personnel up front can bring to the table in regards to just good old-fashioned physicality and playing the game a certain way.
What are Jeff Okudah? What are some keys to him having success for you as an outside corner? Because you're like, defensively, I think people are going to understand inside it's just not, I think, alignment or assignment focused or whatever whatever leads to that. But with Okudah, he's so strong at the line of scrimmage that's where it starts with him, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff has he's done a really nice job throughout training camp and really solidifying what we believe his role is going to be for us. But it also goes back to what many envisioned for him coming out of Ohio State was this guy is big, he's strong, he's got elite athletic traits of being able to kind of tie it all together. It's just consistency, and it's just trusting in the confidence level we have in him, he has in himself, and how many snaps can you go out and allow your the best parts of your game to help you play consistent
Yeah.
and rely on those things. And certainly the physicality at which he plays with PA at the line of scrimmage, disrupting the timing and rhythm of not only the guy he's defending, but how that player then fits into the concept for these good offenses that are truly reading full field and have 5 potential eligibles. And then I think he's got some physicality traits in the run game as a tackler and a guy that's willing to add to your 1 of 11 from a play style and physicality standpoint as a tackler and going at the football and creating more opportunities for our defense to pick up right where they left off, which is forcing turnovers and causing havoc as much as possible for the opposing side.
And Kevin's defense sacked Caleb Williams 5 times last year. He quarterback for the Bears. He was sacked a league high 68 times last year. Are you expecting more of a quick game from them maybe starting Monday?
Well, I just think you're gonna see good principles of offense regardless. I think you're gonna see some definitely some plays where the ball's coming out, trying to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. They've got some really good players really across their entire offensive unit, backfield, tight end, receiver, clearly. And I think it's going to be how many times can they put the ball in play and find positive success and give their guys a chance to make some yards after catch. And then there's going to be, any really good offense that wants to run the ball. And then obviously the play action game is going to be critical for them. And, obviously Caleb's a very, very talented player. He can make every throw. He clearly can play on schedule. He can play off schedule. But what are the things that you can do to try to either have your matchups be what they want across the board, to allow that kind of rush and coverage to work together to make him uncomfortable in the pocket. And then as we learned, many times last year, he is dangerous as any player in our league when he gets out on the perimeter as a run-pass threat. He keeps his eyes up, and he can touch every blade of grass on the run, moving deep, short. Really, you have to defend through the duration of the down, regardless of you might have had the perfect call on. You might have had a free runner. You might have had everybody locked down in coverage. But how do we tie it all together to really try to limit? You're never going to eliminate all of those plays, but can you limit them so that can't be the driving force why they're able to move the ball consistently?
How deeply are you sweating your injuries up to the season opener? Is it like a week-long sweat where you think things will get squared away?
No, I think our guys everybody's got their individual situations, and everybody's doing the best they can to make it back, and we'll get our team prepared. We feel like we have a very deep team, across the board with the performances that we've seen. Not only with the reason why certain players are here, but also how they fit within our schemes to allow us to know we can anticipate and have confidence with how we're going to coach the team and the execution we're going to get from that.
Oh, and lastly, I promise, how much does the actual surface at a place like Soldier Field, like how much? Well, it matters when you get out there and you might step on it and be like, oh, geez, equipment's going to have to figure out what studs to use, blah, blah, blah. But I seem to be the only one that's a little wrapped up in this right now. And granted, we're 6 days in front of the game. They had 5 consecutive concerts at Soldier Field. Last one last night. Oasis had 50 to 60,000 people there. Every blade of grass, as you would say, has been trampled. So WGN reports they're replacing their sod does that mean the whole field, patches of the field? Because I mean, seriously, there could be seams. Like, how much do you pay attention to that?
Yeah, I mean, this is professional football, so our anticipation is the surface is going to be.
Got it. I'm the only one. I got it.
It's going to be good enough to play on. But I would say this: at some point, the guys in purple and white aren't going to be the only ones playing on the surface. So we've got to do our best to establish. Through a lot of different people once we arrive, once we've had a chance to step foot. We've got to have our players prepared to play on whatever surface is. And truly, Monday Night Football, NFC North, if they want to clear out some space in the parking lot, we can play out there too. I mean, at this point, I would say that is not incredibly high on my priority list. But
Roma Dunze this, Bermuda grass that, right?
But I would say it's clearly – we've seen maybe at another location here in the NFC North that happens to have grass in a unique climate. We've seen that surface play a major role before, so we want to make sure that we're doing our part to prepare our players. It's something I will talk about with the guys. We'll have the equipment available, and we'll go play football.
So Lundeen, Peterson, or Martin are not flying out Friday, sneaking in, grabbing a chunk, coming back before you leave Sunday?
Knowing those guys, they might have been at Oasis, so maybe they got a head start.
You're awesome, man.
Yeah.
God bless you. Good seeing you.
Thank you. Great seeing you.
Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. That's weekly X's and O's, 9 to noon. Back after this.